It just kind of fell to the wayside. I was in the middle of doing a 2.5 engine swap summer. Lost up the track.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Flywheel Films. And welcome to my canyon. Well, not my canyon, but it's the one to which my house is pretty much connected. It's a great place to escape if you're having a rough day and just, need to get away. So I may have just crashed a Model S Plaid. So this is a nice way to kind of have a mental reset and think about what I've done. Totally my fault. Although, granted, what car needs 1,000 horsepower? It's just stupid. Anyways, Miatas. This video, I decided to go down this canyon with my car. My car. I have just paid it off. My birthday present to myself was paying it off, which actually was a total coincidence. I forgot when the loan terminated, and the last payment was like, oh, August 1st. And I was like, hot dog. So, Ghost is mine. 100%. No bank involved. Now my house payment went up a bit, so I don't have like that much more money anyways, but I do want to do more with this car. This is a quick ownership update on Ghost. Not really a full, like long-term, here's how to drive an NC for 100,000 miles. That video is coming with all the maintenance and rigmarole and details and things to look for. That video is coming, I swear. This one is more just, here's what I've done with this car, what we've been through, all the fun things we've done mods wise. So yeah, so let's talk modifications. Everything I've done to date, relatively in order. I'm just going to touch on each thing briefly because I have videos on almost all of them and a few more videos to come. So Craven Speed, stubby antenna, that was a no-brainer, super cheap, first thing I got. Also Craven Speed are my door bushings, which fit every single Miata generation. That same part fits all of them. It's very simple, very affordable. Yeah, and speaking of things that every Miata can use, shift knobs. All Miatas share the same shift knob bolt pattern. So I have an ND shift knob. Thank you to my brother, Austin. Great shift knob, love how it feels. That was a huge upgrade. I still have the stock NC shift knob, mint condition. Does anyone want to buy that? Let me know. But this knob's been great, but it is wearing pretty heavily, I will say that. So I'm thinking about other shift knobs. If you have recommendations, leave them in the comments below. Bluetooth. I added Bluetooth to the NC Miata with just a little module from Amazon, like 10 bucks. So watch my earliest Bluetooth video. Super cheap and easy. If you have the line in, the 3.5 aux cable, that's really dirt cheap and easy. And if you don't have the aux cable, if it NC1, you still have a port on the back of your head unit you can get to. So you can still get aux that way, FYI. So I have a whole video on that. Super Q exhaust. This was the big one. That was one of the first things where I was like, wow, I want to go drive this car all the time in these canyons. Just a great exhaust note. A little bit quiet, but I'll get to that in a minute. Carbon Miata spoiler. Threw that on the back. When I threw it on, I had my friend Logan wrap it. So here I have my spoiler. He wrapped my windshield surround, my hood divot thing, which was interesting. I don't see that very often, which is why I wanted to do it. It's different. And he even wrapped my badges, which was really impressive. Of course, you can plasti dip those. That was my backup plan. But the spoiler looks awesome. In my opinion, the best spoiler for the NC. There's some other fun ones that could be pretty good depending on the rest of your car, but that one's amazing. Winter wheels and tires. That came first winter because this is a Miata and I live in Colorado and it's my only car. So that's fun. And I'll make a video on that as well, winter driving with this thing, because there's a lot of stuff I want to do for my winter build, quote unquote. But yeah, got winter wheels and tires. It's dedicated snow and ice tires. They're not all seasons. They're like snow specific. Champiro Ice Pros, they're fine, not great, but they're fine. What else? Rev limiter gauges, what I'm looking at in front of me right here. That was another one that was like, wow, I can see it so clearly. all the time. Every time I drive it, I'm interacting with these gauges. It looks so good. I got the white ones. I don't remember the name, but I made a video on how to install these, and you can also customize them. Really cool guy, cool company. Love these things. Then another big one was this head unit. By the way, thanks to Cameron for helping me install the gauges and the head unit. I chose a Sony XAV AX5000. I wanted CarPlay. That's all I wanted. This will do Android Auto as well, super well. Capacitive touchscreen. Got it used, got a great deal on it. You can get a nice head unit for pretty cheap in these cars. You just have to get all the stuff around it, the wiring harnesses. I have a very in-depth installation video. Thank you for everyone who's watched that. That's my best viewed video so far. And yeah, check it out. So very in-depth, specifically for Sony, but it applies pretty broadly to other brands as well. When I was doing the head unit, I also did the backup camera, the reverse camera. It's fine. I actually want to get a different one soon. I don't like the LEDs that are on it. It seems kind of cheesy. And I'll probably wire one that's on all the time so I can pull it up without going into reverse if I needed. So that's a minor thing that I'll do eventually. I also did a hardwired dash cam. That was a really fun video to make with my friends Justin and Cameron. Got a kind of cheap camera on Amazon. It's okay, but it ended up kind of going bad. So I'm gonna do an update video on that with a new camera I got, the 70mm M700 or M500. They have a bunch of cameras. It's a Xiaomi sub-brand. Really good dash cam though. No longer have the reverse looking one, but honestly the front one is the most important by far. And the dash cam is hardwired into the car, so I use the actual fuse box and everything. So very, very clean install. I also painted my brake calipers. Austin came up from Texas. We had a fun time with that. Painted them red. I think it looks great. Just a fun little detail and accent. The paint's not holding on super well. More on that later. LED lights. Yeah, I've done LEDs almost everywhere. I left the factory HIDs. They're really good. If you don't have the factory HIDs from a lower trim, I would recommend looking into LEDs, or you can do a factory HID swap. There's a lot of options. Check the forums, check the Facebook groups, but I'm happy with my HIDs. But I've done all LEDs everywhere. Haven't made a video on that because I haven't quite finished. I was wanting to do the turn signals. I wanted to track down a tap turn. Really sadly, the guy who was making tap turn passed away. So I don't have that, but that fixes hyperflash. Now, I've learned recently there are turn signals on Amazon that fix hyperflash. You don't have to worry about it. So I'm gonna get those and then do a full video on how to install LEDs everywhere. Really quickly, this RX-8 wiper stock, great, simple, easy modification. It's like super easy. I don't know why it took me so long to do it. I guess because I moved to Colorado, there's no rain out here, so never a problem. But the moment I go to the Midwest, especially during my huge road trip series, I was so glad I had this thing. Now, the other big one that just happened is the Meister R Zeta CRD coilovers. What an incredible modification, upgrade. I really, really, really recommend you look into suspension. Sway bar is another component. That's something I want to get to. But these coilovers, I think, are really good bang for buck. I've tried the Tanes in Ahmad and Jackson's car, Code and Light. He's who I watched the installation video on. Props to that. I would have liked to do an installation video, but I was just so mad at the rusty bolts I had to deal with, so I didn't really film that. But I do want to do a video on the coilovers themselves, just reviewing them, how I have them set up. So I'll get to that soon, hopefully. Keep me posted. Just keep bothering me if you want to see that. And then lastly, unless I'm forgetting something, let me know if I'm forgetting something, the Dave Fab coolant expansion tank. Now, there are a number of companies that make the coolant expansion tank, and that's obviously one of the big issues with the NC Miata. So I recommend replacing that. Everyone recommends replacing that. It's always the joke. Oh, your coolant expansion tank hasn't exploded yet. Honestly, I still recommend replacing it, but my first NC Miata after 250,000 miles with its original expansion tank was fine. Now, that's probably the outlier, so I don't recommend that. But that's it for all the mods that I've done. So let me pull over here just a second and show you kind of how the outside of the car looks, and then we'll get to the future plans. found a quick spot of shade so I can show you kind of the cosmetic condition of this car. That's another thing I'll go more in depth on in my full, like, here's long-term NC ownership. But I wanted to show you Go specifically, just some of the issues I'm seeing around the exterior, and that actually leads into the mods I want to do. So first things first, the brake calipers, as I mentioned, the paint is not holding up super well. That one actually looks pretty good. This one, obviously, there's a couple little marks there. And that could have just been from our installation not being perfect. You know, we tried to scrub them hard with a wire brush. Maybe it wasn't the best. I still think that was the right way of doing it, but you can always powder coat them or scrub it harder, like actually sandblast them to get it really prepared well for painting. But I still like how they look. Now, on the second day of ownership, this huge door ding happened right there. That's really disappointing. And I don't know, I just have never fixed it because I got an official quote a couple places and it was like, yep, 3-stage paint, this crystal white pearl mica, whatever they call it, is, I love it. It's a beautiful kind of shiny, nice white, really pops in the sun, which of course I parked in the shade thinking this would look better. That's disappointing. Fortunately, I've never curbed these wheels. All these wheels were curbed when I bought them, which that's still not a great thing. I'm kind of depressed about that, but I'll get to that in a second. This right here, I may have backed into my garage a bit too far on the edge. I was sharing the garage with another tenant who had a big SUV and I always had to squeeze. Fortunately, I had this car and I could squeeze, but just a couple paint kind of chips around here. You can tell where rocks have glanced up and caught it pretty bad, especially right here. That's typical for a car with 80-something thousand miles. You're starting to see rock chips and paint defects and all sorts of stuff. This was really annoying. This happened also before I bought it, and I just didn't know because the front license plate was covered up. But the dealer who originally installed it put the plate in and the screws were too long and they didn't do it right, so the screws actually went into the bumper and actually physically cracked it just a little bit. That was another thing that was like, oh, it'd be really expensive to properly like fix. So just haven't done it because it hasn't bothered me enough to take care of it. The mirrors also see some rock chips there. And then the wrap that Logan did is actually holding up super well. The spoiler looks like it did the day he installed it. The windshield surround, it wasn't because of his installation, it was because the people who replaced my glass when I cracked it just kind of yanked it out of there. And so it actually pulled up a little bit of stuff along the edges. So probably have Logan redo the wrap on the windshield surround. And that's actually something I'm probably gonna do to get into the next segment, which is future modifications. Really excited for that. I'm planning to wrap, I think, the whole car. I'm not sure exactly. I'm still toying with that idea because I love the white. I mean, I feel like Ghost should be white, but I have always dreamed of a green car. I was just in Germany where I saw a Karai Mazda NC, the special edition they had over there, where it's like all the black accents like mine, but a beautiful green color. I would love something like that. So that's a consideration. That would mean I wouldn't have to fully repaint or anything. I could still get this fixed, but not worry about the actual finish. I could almost basically prep it for paint and then not paint it and instead wrap it, which would be cheaper than painting the whole car and a fun way to mix up the color. And then the white's still underneath it. So I don't see that as a big downside. These wheels have got to go. I know I've mentioned that in like 18 videos, but look at that fitment up there. Maybe I've been hanging around Jackson too long, but seeing his NC every time makes me want to do some major stuff to mine. So that's a big upcoming thing. This is the last time you'll see these wheels on this car. I have ordered wheels. That's a modification that I've paid for, just haven't done yet. They are coming and I can't wait for you guys to see them. I'll do a whole video on that and talk about wheels and tires and everything specifically. But that's all the modifications I've done. I touched on a few things I want to do. So I'm gonna go hit the canyon back home and tell you all the fun, exciting stuff down the road. And I'd love to get your input on how I should do some of that because I hope to film it all, share my experience with everyone. It's been great to see people tuning in so far and learning a lot. And I like learning with everyone. So let's jump back in, hit the road in this beautiful place I call home. I don't know if you can hear that, but that popping sound, I think might be subframe. Not sure. So my parents came to town, they borrowed my car, took it on some like washboard dirt roads, which I think may have rattled something loose. I gotta get the car up. Really, I need to get it up on a lift. If any of you are in the Denver area and have a lift I can borrow, let me know. That would be awesome for checking that out, but also for some future videos. I'm happy to help show my gratitude in some way. But yeah, future modifications. I've already mentioned a few things. Sway bars is another big one. If you haven't seen my flying Miata, wearing the shirt, summer camp video, I did my first autocross. That was so much fun. And I think obviously driver mod is the biggest thing. Absolutely, I need to just practice driving more. But I think I could really tell how much sway bars might improve things. Another thing was a slightly wider wheel and tire would be nice, just for a little bit more of that lateral grip. And as I mentioned earlier, LED turn signals, that's gonna be coming soon because that's another inexpensive mod. And then after that, I will be fully LED, except for the HID headlights, which that's totally fine. Actually, I haven't done the high beams LED either because I've heard of some people having issues, but I don't know. That's something else. Have you done high beams in your NC? Let me know. Speaking of lights though, give me all your shade in the comments. I do want to put underglow in this car. I think that would be so much fun. Every state is different, and that would be a fun video to do as, I guess, fairly informational, because I think, unpopular opinion, hot take, underglow is coming back. It is illegal in some ways, in some fashions, in some colors. Some colors are totally legal. In my state, you cannot do green because that's reserved for forest rangers. Not that they're running around with underglow on their trucks, but the green colors reserved for them. Obviously can't do red or blue. Purple's also legal, I think. And then amber. I would probably do amber because it kind of matches the yellow fog lights that I've done, which is kind of fun. So it's one of those things where I just want to do it for doing its sake. I'm not going to be the guy who's driving around at night with underglow all the time. I do think it's kind of tacky. But there's just some times where you go to a car meet or you have friends over, everyone brings their cars, you're all sitting around grilling steaks, drinking Corona, and you're like, wow, this is very fast and furious of us. At that point, I would just like to be like, ha, underglow. Another potential experiment would be having to do with NVH, or noise, vibration, and, oh, what's H? I forget. Anyways, Dynamat, or a similar product. Putting that in the doors, I've heard that can improve the sound system as well as cut down on some of the road noise. Just things to make it a little bit more nicer on road trips and just driving daily. Another convertible, hello. I just waved to everyone. So that's a consideration. Do it on the trunk liner. Like, just, I know people are like, oh, but that adds weight. Okay, it adds almost no weight, if we're being honest. Not enough weight for me to notice, and maybe enough sound for me to be like, that was worth it. I don't know. I'll be the guinea pig. I'll find out and let you guys know. I'll do a video on that as well to figure out how much that actually helps. But I really want to do it also for the sake of the sound system. I have the Bose sound system. The head unit did improve the sound quality, but I do want to upgrade the whole sound system at some point. That's another research rabbit hole. I'd love to get a really slim but effective sub to put either under a modified passenger seat or behind it, or like maybe do like a removable sub box that's molded to the passenger footwell, and then when I have a passenger I can just take it out, throw it in the trunk. It'd be super cool if it could make it so it also works in the trunk, like have connections in both places. So I could literally have it in the trunk sometimes for a little bit extra bass, or in the passenger footwell for better bass. It'd be cool to have that flexibility. That's just where my mind goes. And then upgrading these speakers. I know Sweetwater makes speakers for the NC1. I don't know why they don't make it for the NC2 and 3. I think that's a huge missed opportunity. I would love to throw those in. Of course, you can upgrade the front and rear speakers as well, but that's not where most of the sound comes from. I would focus on the 4 speakers in the doors. And it'd be nice to have a little bit more low end. Another thing is this steering wheel. It's fine, totally fine, but I'd love to get something like a Cypher or one of those. I like the steering wheel controls too much to get rid of those, so I'm not going that route. I respect Jackson and all those guys who go the hardcore route, the Nardi or Momo or whatever, but I like my creature comforts. That's part of why I got the special edition. So some special steering wheel, or maybe I'll just wrap this one in Alcantara just to see what it's like. I drove the Audi RS e-tron GT with its Alcantara steering wheel, the Porsche Taycan GT Sport Turismo Alcantara steering wheel, and after that I was like, I need that steering wheel. So that's a thought for sure. Another thing that's not very crucial at all, but for engine bay's sake, by the way, if you have any engine bay looks recommendations, let me know. But the Dave Fab coolant expansion tank I have also has a sister tank for the power steering, which is right next to it. It would just look nice, black and powder coated. But then on the note of power, that's a big topic, obviously. My car, especially up here, I'm at like 8,000 feet right now. It's slow uphill, but it's still fun and it doesn't bother me. That being said, I would love to get a header, specifically the header. The header is the big choke point in the NC power flow, if you will. So a header and a tune, I'd love to see what that would do. I'm kind of like, well, I may as well do a mid-pipe as well. That's lower priority, but I'd love to see what a full exhaust. I already have the I already have the muffler, the Goodwin Super Q. So I'd love to get a header and mid-pipe and a tune, get that all figured out. That'd be excellent. But of course, turbo or supercharger or 2.5, I don't know. I've gone everywhere with those thoughts. Colored and Light, Jackson, of course, did his 2.5. That thing sounds incredible. It drives great. I know he's had issues, but he's also worked out a lot of issues, and mad respect to him for taking that challenge on. And then, of course, Imad had a NC, which he sold with Trader. And he supercharged. It was awesome. But my buddy Luke's is turbocharged. I'm like, what route do I go? Or do I just leave it stock where it's absolutely bulletproof? I don't know what to do, honestly. But I'm not, that's another low priority down the line thing. Maybe I'll just start with a header and a mid-pipe. I'd love to find them used. I just don't have the funds to do new. It's so expensive. So if anyone's selling one, let me know. And even more unnecessary expense would be the smart top module. I really want one, but it's like $300 just to do the top automatically and at speed. That would be cool. My brother's calling. Sorry, Austin, I'll call you back. Smart top, yeah, that would be awesome. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, maybe I'll find one used where someone's not worrying about recuperating the whole cost, because I'd love to have it, but not to the extent of spending that much money. From a looks perspective, I already mentioned the wrap. That would be super cool. But I love how the NC looks so much. And I like the black accents. I would keep the black accents, by the way. The hood thing, I'm on the fence about. That I might take off if I do green. I probably will, actually. But I'll wrap it, and then ground effects. I'm so torn on those. I did get Imad's old, it's the factory OEM appearance package rear diffuser. I gotta figure out how to mount that. I'll of course make a video on that, because a lot of people are wondering how to mount that. And then front splitter, I am so torn on that. I don't know what to do. If you have recommendations, let me know. I hope this comments section is full, by the way. Yeah, there's so many splitters. The OEM one's okay, but I don't know. Of course, I could just go NC3 and then get like the club front splitter. I love the look of that, but I don't know, I like being different. I feel like so many people go NC1 or NC3. I like the NC2 a lot. So, I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like the NC2 needs the front splitter or side skirts, but I'd love to get something subtle, something simple but still there. Very tempted to do the NA Miata side skirts that Jackson did on his Miata, so that's a possibility. Hydraulic hood kit, I do have the hydraulics, just not the hardware, and I think it's gonna be hard enough to find the hardware that I'll either have to fabricate something or just buy a new hood kit, but that would be just a convenience modification, really. And then a couple of tiny things like custom CNC badges. That would be super cool, where you see the club emblem on the club models, or in Europe you see the side like reflector or lights. I would think it'd be cool to have a custom badge made. If you do custom CNC work, let me know, because I'd love to work together. I have brand new front brake calipers from my friend who did an upgrade. He did the Stop Tech, I think. And so I was like, the brakes are fine in this car. I think I'll upgrade the brakes, just like the pads and rotors, and while I'm there, I might just throw on brand new calipers because they're okay, they just have some surface rust, and it'd just be nice to have them refreshed. And while I have brand new ones, may as well powder coat them properly the color I want. Welcome to my imagination. It's kind of all over the place. Bottom line, I love this car. It's mine now. I'm in no real rush to do any of this because I've realized how bulletproof these cars really are. So, and I have no plans to get rid of it. So, we'll see. Let me know what I missed. What should I do with my car? What would you like to see a video on? Tutorial, or just to see me guinea pig myself and make a fool of myself trying to installation on something. Please let me know in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry it's kind of a long, I thought it was gonna be short, but I talked a lot and now I'm losing my voice. It's a longer video, just a lot of fun things, all the things I've done, all the things I want to do. It's not a beautiful video. I actually lost my drone. I was filming a road trip in a Rivian and it's gone forever. So no drone footage for the time being, but that's another modification, not to the car, but to the channel. I need to get some better equipment at some point. So hope this GoPro footage is fine. I've never filmed it this way. This is the first time I've done in-car GoPro footage. It's kind of fun though. So no, I did do some of the Miata's summer camp video. Go check that out. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, all that stuff, and see you guys in the next video. I'd love to film more Miatas, by the way. Like, obviously, I feel like the main focus has been this car. Hopefully my brother, Austin, he just moved. He's gonna do more videos on his Fiesta ST. Super excited for that. But I'd love to go do some build breakdowns, like what you've done with your Miata. If you're in the Colorado area, hit me up. Let's do a fun video together, and let's showcase your car and all your hard work. Take care.